How do you teach so it's attractive? How do you learn so it's attractive? Because if you want to teach somebody something or you want to learn something, you want to do it in a way that you're going to get somebody's attention. Because if you can get their attention, you have a chance to make an impact. Titus 2, 1 through 13, it instructs us to teach so it is attractive. That's what we're trying to do. So today, daily, we can be saved from the power and perils of sin, saying no each day, living in the present. In traditional church, you go to get saved, you say, "Oh, I'm giving my life to Christ," or whatever the process. Every religion has something different, a church has something different. And then you feel like, well, I'm good now. I don't think that is necessarily the case. You have to live in the present each and every day. And it allows you and I to be faithful witnesses and effective ambassadors of Jesus to the watching world. And that is what is so important. It teaches us to live like Jesus in a sinful society. There's three kinds of sin. There's sin by us. Oh gosh, I committed sin. There's sin to us. Ooh, someone sinned against me. And then there's sin around us. And Tim, I never thought of it that way. I always focused on the sin I commit. And I've got to, be diligent around that and be present around that. But oh my goodness, when I open it up to those other levels done to us and around us, we produce healthy fruit in the culture and world we live in. So if we can produce healthy fruit, others can enjoy fruit. Because if you've got a good piece of healthy ripe fruit, others can enjoy it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, to some extent, teach the truth so that your teaching can't be criticized, which, it's so interesting because Jesus was never criticized by the common person. He was only criticized by the other teachers. The more learned teachers criticized him because he wasn't teaching the way they had been taught. I'm talking now about scribes and Pharisees, because those were the primary teachers of the law, and even lawyers, teachers of the law. And so he had a way of teaching. And even after some of his teaching, they would say, they were amazed because he spoke as one who had authority. So when he taught, nobody really said anything bad about it, except the people who thought he was infringing on their territory, their position, their status. Who are you? You're a Nazarene carpenter's son. Who are you to teach us about these things?
Ultimately, that's what he did then. He taught.
Yeah.
In an attractive way.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody else ran away from him. They all ran towards him. That's why he was killed, because all the people were running towards him.
Because they were worried. They're like, oh, we got to somehow stop this dude because the people are...
Yeah. Because his teaching was attractive, and he taught doctrines in an attractive way.
Yes. So isn't that great wisdom for us today?
Yes.
And I think, dude, you do a great... If you guys haven't been in one of Tim's courses, my goodness, he teaches in an attractive way. I can say that. And I think it was such a great thing for me to come across. Teach it so it's attractive.
The other thing is be real clear who your audience is.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Think about Jesus. He just stood up on a crate or rock or whatever, and he started talking. He didn't think about his audience. He just said, here it is. And here, we don't know this. I don't know. You might know this in scripture, but I was thinking about that. He didn't care at all about the audience. He just spoke his truth, basically. And do you think there were some of the crowd, not just the Pharisees, but some of the common people that were like, oh, no, this dude, he's scaring me too. I mean, we don't know, but I'm thinking there had to be like some people out there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there were. The rich young ruler may or may not have been a Pharisee. He taught him, and he said, the guy came to him and said, what do I need to do? And he said, well, sell all your goods, follow me. That guy didn't want to do that. There were people, who had a lot. There were people who thought they had too much to lose to follow him. He meets us no matter who we are, as we are. He never said anything to him about, why don't you talk to me in front of all your friends? He never put that to him. He just had the conversation. And it was that conversation, John 3:16, came out of that conversation. You must be born again, and for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. That all came out of the Nicodemus conversation. So
that's so good. So for you teachers out there, because that's probably why you clicked on this video on YouTube, because it had teaching in there. I think you're getting some wisdom here. As Tim is sharing this, he talked about Jesus. Jesus spoke to all of our hearts. He knew Nicodemus was, kind of worried. I don't want to, ruffle feathers. I'll get in trouble. Jesus, like, okay. He didn't shoot him down for that, or
He
he was
respected
stuck
that he
there.
wanted to come and meet him. He
Yeah.
said, I can work with that. That's cool. And then he gave him himself. He didn't hold anything back. I think that's a lesson for us, because I know myself, if there's somebody who I think's disagreeing with me or doesn't see things the way or I kind of withdraw a little. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
really pour myself into them. Cast your pearls before swine. I'm not going to
Right.
talk to
There's like
them.
a thin line there, right?
Yeah, call me if you want to. I'm not going to pursue it. But Jesus, he's so gracious.
The grace is just, I had my pastor from there in Nebraska, and one of the things he said, he just says, like, I gotta give grace freely because I know I need grace freely. It's just common sense. I gotta give grace because I know next week, next month, tomorrow, I'm gonna need grace. It's just a simple way to think about it. And Jesus modeled it all the time.
Well, one of the neat things about the Gospel of John, and I think I mentioned to you, my mind has been blown by the similarities of the Gospel of John and the book of Revelation. The parallels are stunning. And if you look at John 1, he talks about Jesus was the light and the darkness could not comprehend it. And but then in John 3, he talks about how Nicodemus came to Jesus late at night. So Nicodemus came in the dark, but he came seeking the light. Just the poetic and literary qualities and the way the themes run through and the ideas and then the examples of it in real life. Here's a guy who was in darkness as a learned scholar. He was blind. He was in darkness, and he came at night in the darkness.
He wanted to stay in the darkness.
He wanted to stay in the darkness. He didn't want anybody to see him.
Yep.
But bless his heart, he came anyway, and Jesus respected that and gave him the light, gave him some light.
And that's so good, don't you? I think, here's what I believe. Everybody is seeking the light, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
So that it gets us full circle back to make it attractive.
Yeah.
If you know people are seeking the light, make it attractive, make it easy for that individual person or whatever it is to come to the light and be the light, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Subscribe with the notification bell to receive regular updates. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button to see more like it. Comment down below. This can be with questions or answers to a question you ask. And we will see you next time on the journey from isolation to community, where the next step beyond is freedom.